London even being ranked as one of the most diverse cities in the world. These factors then lead to London attracting tourists from all around the world. However, what a lot
London
of these
like that.
tourists are
Like, I
unaware
know they
of is the
like that
fact
with
that a
their
deadly
knives
gang
and
war has
shit.
been
Like, am I? Yeah, this is UK. I know they like that with their knives and shit. But do they? Like, I heard they be making guns. Like, do they make their guns? I wonder. This is a 42-hour video. Fuck it, dude.
playing out within the streets, only miles away from London's most well-known landmarks and tourist attractions. This deadly story takes place in South London, being the area south of the River Thames. It's also to note that around 2.8 million people currently live in and around South London. Now, the borough that this gang war takes place in is that of Lambeth, which is actually among the top 5 most dangerous London boroughs. In 2023, the crime rate recorded in Lambeth was 135 crimes per 1,000 people, coming in higher than surrounding boroughs. But you may be confused as to how
In
these
London?
alliances of gangs have had such a violent
It's gang. Like, I know gangs in London is like, it's similar to the gangs in the United States. Is this like, because they got 37 Southfields, 37. I'm assuming the niggas in yellow, they clicked up. That's what I'm assuming. Niggas in red, they clicked up. Or these are just ops of somebody. Like, I don't know. I don't know. What's going on? I can't even see your damn message that you said. Like, why is my shit tripping now? The idea of being getting in the country world, and we use you from London? Y'all use 3D print. Yeah, y'all get that shit made. 3D printers.
and dangerous war with each other, resulting in the deaths of around 30 people, with this war seemingly going unnoticed for decades before members would begin to make UK drill music, this being the violent gang war between the Hillside Alliance and the Gas Alliance. Before this video starts, I would like to say that this road life really isn't worth it, and most times just leads to jail or death. If you or someone you know is getting involved with the gang life, I urge you to let the people around you know and distance yourself from it. These people who are often posted wearing expensive clothes and showing off their road lifestyle aren't sharing the whole picture, as they themselves have lost friends to the roads. So if you take anything away from this video, make sure that it is to distance yourself from the gang life. The Hillside Alliance is a group of gangs.
Whoa, hold on. You what? No way. No way. That's some wild shit. Fuck it. I'm not even gonna. I get all this when I'm done tonight. Fuck it. Yeah, I'm from East London. I'll show you my hood after you. If you got
Gangs
time.
based
Bro,
around
I'm be
multiple
on this
areas
for 12
within
hours.
South London.
I
These
got
gangs
time.
include LTH, or Lower Tulse Hill, based around the SW2 postcode, 67 or 674 based around the SW4 postcode, and parts of the SW2 postcode, and finally GID, or 55, based around Streatham Hill, within the SW16 postcode. Other gangs are also closely allied with the Hillside Alliance. These gangs include Team Raw, based around Stockwell, SW9, and Gypsy Hill, located around SE19 and SE27. These gangs also are allied under the collective known as the Hillside Alliance, with this alliance mainly being based within the London borough of Lambeth, and are more commonly just referred to as Hillside. Another gang often mentioned with these gangs is that of Harlem Spartans and Cuckoo, based within Kennington. It's important to note, however, that this gang isn't directly allied with the Hillside gangs, but does have beef with the gangs from the Gas Alliance.
Okay.
The Gas Alliance is a group of gangs that directly oppose the Hillside Alliance. The gangs included within the Gas Alliance are 150 or GBG, based around the Angeltown Estate, SW9, as well as CMG, which is based in the neighboring Loughborough Estate, also within the SW9 postcode. Another gang is that of 410, based around the Myatts Field Estate within SW9. The UT.
So, Gas Alliance is just a big ass. Like, I'm assuming Gas Alliance is like a big ass block or some shit. And And yeah, it's just a big ass block with different hoods. Like that's what it seems like.
TH Gang is also a part of the Gas Alliance and is based around Upper Tulse Hill, SW2. Finally, the gang from nearby Clapham, known as CT, is a prominent gang within the war. This gang being based around the SW4 and SW9 postcode. Another gang also closely allied with the Gas Alliance is that of 17 Wano or TOG from SW8, who share a lot of the beef against Hillside and have had a deadly rivalry with Stockwell. The gang Sirach is also involved in the war. Used to be allied with Gas Gang, but after a situation between
Way too much gangbanging going on in this video. I just got told 8 different games, I think. Like, what the fuck?
members, they would start to have a deadly rivalry with their old friends. The Sirach gang is actually EBK, which stands for Everybody Killer, meaning they have little to no affiliation with surrounding gangs other than Harlem Spartans, beefing both the Gas Alliance and the Hillside.
They in the middle of shit. They trying to get everybody going. All right, okay. Nah, as you said, they all separated gangs, but they link up together. Okay, they click up to beef for Hillside. Oh yeah, so they just it's like I said, they all just click up. It's different gangs that just click up to funk on one fucking side. Okay.
Alliance. Right. Now that I have discussed the gangs involved in this deadly war, we can now take a deep dive into what made these groups of teenagers based on different estates begin to have a disturbing and deadly rivalry with each other. Now, it's thought that the split in Brixton, resulting in the Gas versus Hillside War, began following the savage and brutal murder of a prominent member of TN1 known as Lil Zach. However, I will discuss this later on in the video. It's important to note that around this time, the Hillside and Gas gangs would identify under different names. 6-7 would be better referred to as BHB around this time, this being an acronym for Brixton Hill Bullies. LTH was better known as TN1, and Stockwell would be better referred to as ABM, or All Bout Money. The opposing gangs would also identify under different names, but were all linked under one gang referred to as Gas Gang, which stood for Grip and Shoot. This gang included 28s, nowadays known as 150, MZ, or Murder Zone, nowadays known as Sirach, OC, or Organized Crime, which is better known nowadays as the popular UK drill group 410. Other gangs around this time included Cuckoo, which was better known as BYM, or Bang Your Mash. It would actually be this BYM gang that would kill a loved member of OC or 410 in 2006. Damn. This incident would then spark tit-for-tat incidents, resulting in 410 becoming very involved in the war, this loved member being Tiny Alien. On the 9th of June 2006, a 15-year-old member associated with the OC gang from Myatt's Field, known as Tiny Alien, or Alex, would travel on a bus with 2 friends onto rival BYM territory around Black Prince, with it being thought he did this in order to expand the territory of his own gang, OC. Upon reaching the Black Prince area, Tiny Alien and his 2 friends would get off the bus. The 3 members would walk around for a few minutes. At around 11 p.m., 2 members of the BYM gang based within Kennington would notice Tiny Alien. The 2 Black Prince members would approach Tiny Alien. A confrontation then ensued, and sadly ended in a BYM member stabbing Tiny Alien in the heart, with the attackers fleeing. Tiny Alien's blood brother would then phone the police before then calling their dad and alerting him of the stabbing. Tiny Alien would be taken to St. Thomas's Hospital. His dad would then also rush to the hospital. However, sadly only I'm not gonna lie.
Like, you niggas in the UK? Them knife shit, I think not. Like, bro, me personally, I think getting hit, bro, beefing with knives is way worse than beefing with guns to me. Cause what the fuck, a gun, all you gotta do is bounce out from a corner, pop out from the corner, and shoot and hit that nigga. Make sure you hit that nigga with that bullet. He go feel the heat. He go feel the heat and the impact. He not gonna really feel that bitch unless that bitch is really big as shit. And he just go instantly gone. With a gunshot. With a knife? That nigga, and then y'all be having the bitches be like this big. Stabbing into a person. And then y'all be stabbing into the stomach. So it's just like y'all aiming for the guts. Y'all trying to overkill. Is way worse. Like, to me, I think that's way worse than gun. Because a gun, you just getting hit by the impact. Like, that shit is not. You're not wrong. So missing. Like, that's. That's not it. Like, bro.
or later, Tiny Alien would be pronounced dead in the hospital, with police and detectives quickly launching a murder investigation. During the investigation, police would arrest and charge an 18-year-old BYM member known as Abu Sarpong, who would go on to be found guilty in 2007. And after months of investigating, Judge Gerald Gordon would go on to sentence Abu Sarpong to life with a minimum term of 14 years, most likely meaning he is out of prison now. In a statement,
14 years? Do it matter on how big the knife is? Cause 14 years, nigga, you caught this nigga coming off the bus and stabbed him up. And I guarantee you that knife was like this fucking big, like a sword. And he got 14 years?
released by Tiny Alien's cousin, they would go on to say, "Young people are the future for tomorrow. And these young people are dying. Rest in peace, Tiny Alien." Following his death, members of OC would begin to pay tribute to him on social media, with these members posting images of him. One of these images portrayed him crouching, whilst holding a pump-action shotgun toward the camera. This image then leading to news sources beginning to report on the gang that Tiny Alien was supposedly a part of, with a headline from 2008 entitled, "The Life and Death of a Gangster." As a result of the death of Tiny Alien, OC would become very closely involved with Gas Gang, and would begin to beef the gang BYM from Black Prince. It's also to note that around this time, all of the gangs in Brixton would basically be linked up and would focus most of their beef towards Peckham gangs.
Back then they was giving short sentences.
However, this was all going to change in the years following Tiny Alien's death. In 2007,
you do that shit out here, you do that shit in the United States, your life is over with. That shit is, that 14 cents is nothing. That shit's gonna be, they go give you probably 30 max, or like your life is over with. Like, you better learn how to make a knife in that motherfucking jail, cause like you're late, you're stuck. You finna be there longer than 25 or longer than 20. Like, you do that shit out here, over with. Like, that shit is not it. You're not. No.
The younger generation of gang members from Angeltown would begin to form friendships with surrounding gangs. These gangs included Tiny OC from Myatt's Field, as well as MZ or Murder Zone from the Somerleyton area, more specifically the Moorlands Estate as well as Southwick House, and finally, the neighboring gang from Loughborough. These 4 blocks decided to unite and create Gas Gang. Gas being an acronym for Guns and Shanks, Grip and Shoot.
They clicked up and made Gas
Girls
Gang.
Ain't Shit, as well as other names. The Gas Gang would mainly have a rivalry with Peckham, with this beef on its own, being one of the most infamous gang rivalries. However, I won't be discussing this beef in this video. It would be in August 2007 that one of the first people would fall victim to the war between Hillside and Gas, this being the death of Bowser, who repped the MZ gang from Somerleyton. On the 3rd of August 2007, a member of BHB from Brixton Hill known as Junes would get his golden chain robbed by alleged MZ members, BHB being the predecessor gang to the modern 6-7 gang from Brixton. Anyways, Junes would seek retaliation following the robbery of his chain. Hours following this incident, Junes would arm himself with a gun and would travel around Brixton searching for the MZ members. After searching for a few hours, Junes would notice Bowser, who was sitting with friends on a wall in Brixton. Junes would open fire, shooting Bowser 6 times, with one of these bullets even entering his heart. Junes would flee following this, with police and paramedics being called to the scene. Sadly, Bowser would be pronounced dead on the scene moments later, with yet another murder investigation being launched. 17-year-old Junes would quickly be apprehended and arrested days later. He would then be charged and would later be found guilty in 2008, being sentenced to life with a minimum of 21 years for this deadly shooting. Rest in peace, Bowser. It's thought that the death of Bowser would result in the modern-day beef between BHB, nowadays known as 6-7, and MZ, nowadays known as Ciroc. Whilst this incident definitely did not unite the gangs in Brixton, it definitely added tension between the gangs, and it would be the death of a TN1 member known as Lil Zach in 2010 that would separate the gangs indefinitely. In 2007, the war between a gang from Stockwell known as ABM, which is nowadays a part of the Hillside Alliance and is known as Team Raw, would have a deadly rivalry with 031 or TOG, nowadays known as 17 Wano, this gang being very closely allied with Gas Gang. The beef between one member known as Lil Zach in 2010 that would separate the gangs indefinitely. In 2007, the war between a gang from Stockwell known as ABM, which is nowadays a part of the Hillside Alliance and is known as Team Raw, would have a deadly rivalry with 031 or TOG, nowadays known as 17 Wano, this gang being very closely allied with Gas Gang. The beef between ABM and 031 would be one of the main rivalries around this time. During 2000,
that's a big ass block. That is a big ass block. Like
TOG, nowadays.
For this block to be this big, this hood to be this big, yeah, the time they give me in the U.S. is crazy work. On God, like, bro, but it makes sense though. Like, we got legal guns. We got legal guns. Or you could just be a hood nigga and go buy one off a hood nigga. It's not gonna be registered in you, but it's gonna be an illegal gun. You can't get caught with it. When you make a gun, I think that's way more than 25 years. Like, way more, I think. And then you use it right after that. Yeah. Like, I think that's way more. Like, I don't know. But this is a big ass block. Like, for this block to be this goddamn big, and this hood to be this goddamn big, y'all better have more than 100 niggas. Way more than 100 niggas in y'all gang. Like, or am I tripping? BMW, y'all got a dealership right there. Y'all got a garage right there. McDonald's. Bro, this shit look big as shit. Y'all better have more than 100 niggas.
Known as 17 Wano, this gang being very closely allied with Gas Gang. The beef between ABM and 031 would be one of the main rivalries around this time, during 2007 and 2008, with 3 people dying in 3 years, the first of these being Boo. In 2007, an alleged 16-year-old member of the ABM gang, known as Boo, whose involvement in the ABM gang is often debated, with the media and his family members claiming
another team victim, another mom in agony. Damn. Muhammad last night said he was not in a gang.
He had nothing to do with any gangs. Anyways, in 2007, Boo would be out with a few friends. At around midnight, members of the nearby rival...
What you got a gun for? Like, if you're not in a gang, what you...
Gang 031 would spot Boo with his friends. The members would start to chase Boo, who would then be shot multiple times by the 031 members. Sadly, Boo would be pronounced dead on the scene.
Them niggas slid on him on a bike.
With police arriving moments later, putting up police tape and launching an investigation. Later in 2007, a man would be charged with the death of Boo. However, I couldn't find if he was sentenced or not. Rest in peace, Boo. Following the death of Boo, his family would come out and would state that he had nothing to do with the gangs in the area and was in the wrong place at the wrong time. But either way, rest in peace, Boo.
So he wasn't a gang member, y'all just shot a nigga that was from the hood. But he wasn't gangbanging. But he from the hood. Nah, y'all just don't give a fuck. Well, that's kind of like, I don't know. Cause I know, and gangs out here, it don't matter, for real. Like, if you from a hood, what we do right out, motorcycle in the car, mostly motorcycles, like, that's smart, but y'all better have y'all like helmets on to cover y'all face. Cause like in a motorcycle, you could get through shit running away from the police, and you could get through alleyways and shit with a motorcycle. You could drive on the sidewalk and shit with a motorcycle, get through shit. It's just that's more risky. Like, I don't know, cause out here in the United States, you on a motorcycle, and let's say somebody slide on somebody with a motorcycle and kill him. And then try to drive off, and the police see him and start chasing this nigga. They go crash him. Like, they not giving a fuck. They go smack that nigga into the wall. They get a chance to smack that nigga in the wall, they go smack that nigga in the wall. Like, they go do the most to get you.
Or Abu Kar Muhammad. During this time in Brixton, gangs in the area would be somewhat affiliated, with members of BHB and Gas Gang even having a song together from around 2008 and 2009. Around this
Oh, damn. So he was affiliated He was involved. Okay. His family just tried to claim that he was an innocent kid. Yeah, bro. That's how most of these fucking story times or story life, like how most of these people go out anyway. Like they'll die and then their family will out of nowhere say he was an innocent kid. He went to school. Whole time behind your back, this nigga is carrying switches, all types of guns. And in the UK, I don't know if y'all carry switches, but y'all most likely carry the most baddest shit ever. Like that's kind of like a normal thing, but it's fucked up because he probably hid all that shit from his parents or his people. That's fucked up.
Time, a gang from Tulse Hill would become very prominent, this being TN1, or Trust No One, Tell No One. This gang was closely allied with the Stockwell-based gang ABM, which I just spoke about, as well as gangs based around Brixton Hill, like BHB.
CRC is building a balanced energy future that's abundant, affordable, and sustainable.
I gotta add, hold on.
On the 14th of March 2008, an alleged member of the OC gang known as Ratty would be returning from his friend's house in the Myatts Field estate. At around 8 p.m., rival gang members would pull up and would start shooting toward Ratty. Ratty got hit in the head as a result of the oncoming bullets and would be rushed to hospital. However, sadly, would end up dying a day following the shooting, with police then launching a murder investigation. This investigation has seen little to no arrests made 15 years later, with the murder being unsolved till this day. Whilst it is not known who killed Ratty, many theories do fly around the internet. What is known is that the man that supplied the gun used in the murder was quickly arrested and charged. This man would later receive 12 years for this. Rest in peace, Ratty.
He ain't snitch. That nigga's a W man. He ain't snitch whoever he sold the gun to or gave the gun to. But it's like, damn. The gun must have been registered in his name. Wait. Yeah, we got switches to not as easy to get if you ain't. But like you could make one. Like, bro, I'm telling you, that's a sad. Yeah, he a W man for not saying nothing. Like he a W man for not telling on that nigga. But like you can make anything. Like I'm not gonna hold you. You can make anything. You go on Amazon, buy a 3D printer. Nigga, I go make me a gun right now. Like. You can make anything. You can make a switch. It's like, but he is a W man though.
2015, police would rule the murder of Ratty as gang-related.
Because he most definitely know.
Publicly named the OC gang, as well as its rivals. Although Ratty's family claimed that he had no relation to any gangs within the area. New members from BHB would begin to get active in the streets. An example of this being Dimsy, who would later become very popular within the UK drill scene. A video would resurface in 2017. This video showed Dimsy rapping in 2008. The music video portrayed a very young Dimsy rapping whilst walking around his estate.
3D printers are too like
in this song, you can actually hear him shout out BHB,
anything,
or simply just BH, which most likely stands for Brixton Hill. He would rap BH bullies, bully the streets. In 2008, the beef between 031 and ABM would once again heaten up, with the death of a 031 member seemingly being a retaliation. These niggas just killing.
He covered his face. He must have overdid this nigga, because why they covering his face? This nigga must have been overly killed, because why they covering his face?
Of Boo, a year prior, this being Moody, who was a very prominent member of 031 Wandsworth Road. In July 2008, a member associated with the 031 gang based around Wandsworth Road, known as Moody, would be with a few of his friends. During this time, he would even be pictured with his friends having a water gun fight. On his way home, 6 members of the rival ABM gang would spot Moody. The members would attack Moody, this then turning deadly when knives would be drawn, and Moody would be stabbed multiple times. Moody would be pronounced dead on the scene, with police and paramedics arriving on the scene.
Like, I'm not gonna hold you. Like, and this is from a nigga that lives in the United States. Let's say, if anything, no, I'm not. But let's say a person from the United States moved to the UK. And then all of a sudden start gangbanging and start claiming the sets in the UK. I'm sorry. Like, in my thought process, these niggas with these big ass blades, I'm not fighting you. I'm not fighting you with no big ass blade. I'm not doing none of that. I'm getting me a gun. Cause like I just said, them bitches hurt. If I get shot with a gun, you go get hit, you go have adrenaline, and you go probably pass out from the bullet. And then die right there. Or you go die at a hospital. Or like, bro, it's adrenaline. You're not really gonna feel that bitch once you get hit by a gun. Bro, a knife? Nigga, all they gotta do is just stick, bro, just stick you and leave that, it just keep twisting that. It's over, you feel it, all of that. That shit's gonna hurt. Like, a nigga from the United States, I promise you. If a nigga from the United States just decides to move to the UK, it would be smart. And you move to the UK and decides to start gangbanging, it would be smart to make a fucking gun. Cause I'm not, or get one. I'm not getting stabbed. I'm sorry. I'm not letting nobody walk up on me stabbing me in my gut. No. Like, I'd rather get shot. No.
15 minutes later, police would launch a murder investigation shortly after the murder. The killer of Moody would never be arrested nor identified. However, 3 members that were present and attacked him would be arrested and sentenced for the murder. One member would be given 3.5 years.
Hold on. What?
Investigation shortly after the murder. The killer of Moody would never be arrested nor identified. However, 3 members that were present and attacked him would be arrested and sentenced for the murder. One member would be given 3.5 years in jail. The second man would be given 2 years and 9 months. And the final man would be given a year's detention and a
How long did he just get?
And attacked him would be arrested and sentenced for the murder. One member would be given 3.5 years in jail. The second
attacked him. Did he attack him? I'm assuming they just beat on this nigga. That's it. Bro said, like, bro, it makes sense. Like, hell no.
man would be given 2 years and 9 months, and the final man would be given a year's detention and a training order. The judge on this case would then also release a statement saying, "Your victim was rendered defenseless, and the killer was able to stab and kill him. Rest in peace, Moody." After the death of Moody, 031 members would be seeking retaliation, and in the following year, they would get their retaliation, killing a loved member of ABM in one of the most gruesome ways I think I have ever heard, this being the death of Shays from ABM. In April 2009, a member associated with the ABM gang,
no disrespect, but that person dead ass looked like a stud. Like, do y'all got studs in UK? Like, I know how the females is in UK, they low key aggressive. I don't like that shit. Like, no. Is that a stud? I don't know. I didn't want to sound disrespectful.
Known as Shays, would be chilling with friends in Stockwell. What he didn't know was that a member of the rival 031 gang would be walking his dog in the area. This member being Blizzard. Blizzard would spot Shays whilst walking with his dog. Shays would then lock eyes with Blizzard and would make an attempt to escape. Shays would begin to run, with Blizzard then letting his pitbull cross dog off a lead. The dog would then chase Shays, who by this point was attempting to jump a fence. The dog would catch up and would drag Shays down. Blizzard then ran up with a knife and began stabbing Shays multiple times.
Hawked him down with his dog. The dog even on that. It wasn't. Oh, okay. All right. The dog.
After a few minutes, the attack would end when Blizzard would flee the scene, with witnesses stating he was covered in blood by this point. Police and emergency services would arrive.
He jumped this nigga with his dog and it overstabbed him, and all that blood got on him. That's ew. Like, catch a nigga and just stab him like hella, and all his blood just gush all over him, and then he run.
5 moments later, with Shays being pronounced dead on the scene, a murder investigation would be launched following this. However, detectives would actually have a hard time connecting the killer to the scene, this mainly being due to the fact that a dog had also attacked Shays. But in 2010, police would arrest Blizzard and charge him for the murder. He would later be found guilty and would be given life with a minimum of...
So, they just doing this without a ski mask? Y'all just crashing out? That's what it seemed like. How y'all getting caught? Like, y'all just crashing out. Are y'all doing this without ski mask? Using DNA. Life sentence murder. Oh, he was given a life sentence. At least 24 years. Pig bug.
24 years. Rest in peace, Shays. 2009 was one of the first years that members associated with the ABM gang would begin to rap. An example of this was Young Teflon, who would release an ABM freestyle in October 2009. Other members included Mucky and Loops, who would also release music videos in 2008 and 2009. Around 2009, members from both Gas Gang and BHB would seemingly be affiliated, even having an old song recorded together, featuring 6-7 member Dimsy and Gas Gang members. This just showing that all of these members were actually once friends. However, this was all due to change in 2010, when a loved member of the gang TN1 would sadly fall victim to the streets, causing a massive divide in Brixton. This then resulting in what we know today as Hillside versus Gas. The incident that would spark all of this would be the death of Lil Zach. On the 2nd of July 2010, a member associated with the Tulse Hill gang, TN1, known as Lil Zach, would enter school. Upon entering school, it was compulsory for him, along with all other students, to hand in their phone. On this day, however, Lil Zach would refused to hand his phone in. Zach would then have a conversation with a teacher at this point, and only moments later Zach would seemingly catch eyes with a car full of Gas Gang members who were outside of the school. Zach would then tell a friend, "That's them, that's them."
Some do drills. Mass is not playing. It's stupid. Like, bro, what? Man, y'all put on these fucking masks in these rap songs and don't have a mask on you all the time. Like, bro, hell no. If I got ops and I want to go outside and go walk my dog, that ski mask is gone. Or something's covering my face. If I want to go to the store, that ski mask is on. Or something's covering my face. Especially if I know I have ops. And I don't got nothing on me. Like, what? That's dumb. Anyway, back to what I was going to say. For, like, getting caught, like, let's say, no, getting caught after school or at school by a nigga that you funk with, and mind you, you're by yourself, and that nigga is 12 deep or 5 deep with multiple niggas, that shit is scary. And I've been in situations like that. Like, I've been at school, and I done funk with some people, and them motherfuckers came to the school deep as shit, and I'm by myself. I don't give a fuck. I showed feet. You niggas better not call me pussy for that either. I showed feet. Them niggas was deep as shit. I'm not finna get my ass beat nor embarrassed, especially in school. Like, all the bitches is looking at me. I'm not doing that. Like, y'all got me fucked up. No. Any nigga that pull up on me 12 deep and I'm in school and y'all see me and y'all try to kill me and I know what's finna go on, I'm hopping fences. I'm doing everything I can. I'm running. Like, what the fuck? I don't care. I am. I'm getting the fuck away. I'm not staying here. No, I'm not.
Gas Gang members would exit the vehicle and would approach another student outside of the school, stabbing him in the arm. This student would then walk back into the school in an attempt to escape the attackers. The Gas Gang members decided not to pursue the student that had already been stabbed, but instead 15-year-old Zach, who would begin to run. Zach would make it around 400 feet before the Gas Gang
exactly what I would have done,
stabbing him multiple times.
What?
The Gas
Hold on.
Pursue the student that had already been stabbed, but instead 15-year-old Zach, who would begin to run. Zach would make it around 400 feet before the Gas Gang members would catch up, stabbing him multiple times. The Gas Gang members would flee following the attack, with police and paramedics.
See how deep they are? That's three. That's 3 niggas with probably knives. That's 3 niggas with knives. Nigga, I would've every alleyway. Like, I'm telling you, running for my fucking life. Running for my life. Like, no. Bro, like, oh God, I'm not, like, no. I'm running for my life, bro. No. And he just, damn, he got caught. Them 3 niggas, probably with knives, and it all black. That shit is scary.
To run, Zach would make it around 400 feet before the gas gang members would catch up, stabbing him multiple times. The gas gang members would flee following the attack, with police and paramedics arriving moments later at around 8:50 a.m. Lil Zach would be rushed to a South London hospital, but would sadly be pronounced dead an hour and 30 minutes later. A murder investigation would be launched following this, and only a day later, on the 3rd of July, 4 people were arrested.
You know how, like, a chest is hard, my nigga. Like, me punching myself in the chest, that barely hurts. Stab, that hurt, bro. That hurt. There's no, that shit hurts. His ass was not living from that. And this person in the top right looked like they just fucking, they wish they never did this. Oh, God. And this nigga on the top left just looked dumb. He just looked like he don't give a fuck. Another day here. Another day here. Let me just do my sentence. Let me do my time. And this person on the right, on the top right, I should have never done this, bro. I'm finna die in the jail. His ass probably crying. He thinking about his life right now. Look at his face. He's thinking about his life. That nigga's thinking about his life right now. How he just ruined his shit. Like, that's crazy.
In connection to the murder. These members included Kyle Kinghorn, who went by the street name Clicks, Helder Demarace, or Mad H, Jamal Moore, or J-Kid, and finally Ricardo Giddings, who went by the name Maggie. All 4 of these men were a part of Gas Gang. In 2011, all 4 would be found guilty and would be sentenced to life with a minimum of 18 years, 16 years, another 16 years, and 14 years. Rest in peace, Lil.
18 years, 16 years, 16 years, and 14 years. What? If this was in the United States, them niggas would have been gone. Like, they not getting 15. They life is over with. What? That's what?
Zach. It was actually revealed in court, following the death of Lil Zach, that he had attended a Youth Against Violence conference, and would even speak about wanting to change his lifestyle and leave the streets. In a comment posted under a Reddit thread titled, "Have you ever had a close friend become a murderer?" a user would respond and would write about how he grew up with the Gas Gang members that would go on to kill Lil Zach. The user would also write about how it wasn't surprising, as the area they were from, being Brixton, would see multiple murders, even stating they knew a few other murderers from the area. The death of
I grew up and was close friends with the killer and Zach. And to be honest, in this area we grew up in, it's not as much as shocking with teenagers die young, kill someone, so there wasn't much to deal with. Damn. I know quite a few other killers, but not going to go through them. Unless it's seriously. This nigga just freely just wanna. He's just on Reddit talking about he go snitch, basically, of who these killers are. That's crazy.
Lil Zach would result in Brixton splitting, with certain members of TN1 wanting to slide and get revenge for their fallen friend, and others siding with the Gas Gang members. This then leading to surrounding gangs having to pick who they would back in the beef. This resulted in nearby BHB, nowadays known as 6-7, ABM, and GID, or 5-5, deciding to back TN1, which later became LTH, or Lower Tulse Hill. A gang from Upper Tulse Hill would decide to affiliate themselves with Gas Gang around this time. Beefing LTH, 6-7, ABM, and GID, this massive split leads to the beef that we see today between LTH, 6-7, M Block, and GID. These gangs opposing the rival UTH, or Up Top 150, or AD 410, CT from Clapham, as well as the 17 Wano gang, which is also referred to as 031. 2011 was actually quite a deadly year, with it being known that 2 alleged affiliates of the TN1 gang would be killed. These included both Ziggy and Nana, who were both killed in 2011. Since then, however, their involvement in the gang war has been debated, as they were allegedly just affiliates. Rest in peace, both Ziggy and Nana. It would also be in 2011 that the war between the Hillside-affiliated gang ABM and the Gas-affiliated gang 031 would get deadly, with rival members carrying out a deadly attack on Oxford Street, resulting in the tragic death of an ABM member known as Tuna Raw, with his friends then creating the set in his name referred to nowadays as Team Raw. On the 26th of December 2011, a member from the ABM gang, known as Tuna Raw or Nuts, would travel to central London with friends, more specifically Oxford Street. As he had intentions of spending his Christmas money on clothes, upon reaching Oxford Street, a rival gang member known as Jermaine Joseph would spot him. Tuna Raw would notice this, and a confrontation would ensue between these two members.
This was either the day, a few days after, or the day after Christmas. He just said he was just trying to get shit with his Christmas money. This nigga either got that shit, he either got killed on the day after or the day before Christmas, bro. These niggas don't care. They do not care. They just want these niggas gone. They do not care.
It's alleged that Tuna Raw would then chase Jermaine Joseph into a footlocker. Once Jermaine Joseph would reach the footlocker, he would then fight back and would stab Tuna Raw twice in the chest, with so much force that the knife snapped. Breaking from the handle, Jermaine Joseph would flee the scene following the stabbing, with police and paramedics quickly arriving on the scene.
So you see what I mean? Getting stabbed is what that knife was jammed into him. It's unless the shit broke and fell out of him, that's still fucking, the knife was jammed into him damn near. He's not making it. Damn.
Upon reaching the crime scene, Tuna Raw had bled to death outside of the footlocker. A murder investigation launched by police saw the arrest of Jermaine Joseph days later. During his trial, he told the court that he acted in self-defense, as Tuna Raw had chased him into the footlocker. In the end, the charges put against him would be dropped, and he would be acquitted of the murder charge. Rest in peace, Tuna Raw or Nuts. Following the death of Tuna Raw, members of ABM would become better known as M Block and Team Raw, this name paying homage to Tuna Raw, who was killed on Boxing Day 2011. So for simplicity's sake, I will be referring to ABM as Team Raw, as this is what they went by around this time and still go by. The main rivals of Team Raw, known as 031, would also change their name around this time, changing their name to Team Trizzy, paying homage to a fallen member of 031 that died in July 2012. This name was prominent for a few years, but has since faded out, with the members of this gang nowadays going by either 17 Wano or TOG, which stands.
Yeah, that shit happens a lot. With it snapping, it depends on the way handle.
Stands for Tape Off Gang. 2012 would also see the first instance of members involved in the beef-making music. Members from the Myats Field Collective OC would drop songs around this time, an example of this being Tiny Sykes, who was quite consistent around this time. In 2012, members from Brixton Hill, that repped the gang BHB or Brixton Hill Bullies, would begin to go by 674 around this time, with young members like Dimsy, LD, and Monkey. It's also important to note that the 6-7 gang did also go by the name OSG, or On-Site Gang, which they actually reference in their new name. When the numbers 674 are typed onto a trap phone keypad, the letters OS and G are visible. Younger members from Brixton would also start repping the gangs. An example of this would be PR, who we now know as PRSAD. PR would originally rep the 150 gang based around Angeltown, but would switch sides around 2013 when the beef would begin to get hot, with old tweets even emerging showing PR, showing his love to a dead 150 member known as SQ, which is crazy, as around a year later, he would appear in multiple 6-7 music videos, in which the rappers dissed SQ. It's also to note that in 2012, a member associated with the gang 031, known as Pricey, would be stabbed to death at a nightclub in Reading. The attacker would later go on to be arrested, and is now serving life with a minimum of 24 years. Rest in peace, Pricey. 2013 would roll around, and would be a very deadly year in the beef, with members starting to drop UK drill songs that gained millions of views, as well as in-house beef beginning to occur between the MZ or Sirac gang and 150, resulting in these groups of friends becoming fierce enemies.
Harry's Body Wash keeps it honest. We're talking rich lather and long-lasting nature-inspired scents like sandalwood and cypress. It doesn't have sulfates or dyes, and it won't promise to give you handsome bad boy aura.
That's just fucked up, bro.
2013, members of the gang MZ, based around Somerleyton, would be with 150 members in a South London hospital. The members would spot rivals, and a massive brawl would occur. It is known that a prominent member of 150, known as Sneakbo, and a prominent member of MZ, known as 5 Star, would be present. Police would be quick to shut this brawl down, and would actually arrest both Sneakbo and 5 Star. These two members were taken in for questioning, with it then being alleged that Sneakbo from 150 would snitch on 5 Star and the other MZ members. Months later, 5 Star would post the court papers on Twitter. These papers showed Sneakbo
what the fuck?
snitching about
Sneakbo, why you doing this? I thought we was boys, but I guess you with the pig. Shake my hand, you fucking snitch. Damn. God damn. Do not join the streets if you cannot handle it. Cause why did you snitch? You just made yourself in a bad predicament. Cause I also got some family in Atlanta and Florida. Oh, I'm in Cali. I'm nowhere near though. But it's hot as hell out here, I'm not gonna lie. Inexpensive.
the hospital incident. Following this, the MZ gang would begin to go by Siru and Sirac. They also go by 727, which, like 67, when typed onto a trap phone, it spells out the word rack. Sirac would also start to beef their former friends 150, as well as all of the gangs affiliated. This then meaning the Sirac gang pretty much has beef with every gang in Brixton, apart from Harlem Spartans, this only being due to family ties. 2013 would also see the death of a loved member of 150 known as Pistol P, who would be killed by Team Raw members. On the 17th of February 2013, Team Raw members would seemingly get the drop on a member affiliated with the 150 gang, known as Pistol P, who was at a birthday party in southwest London. The members would travel from their block in Stockwell to Wandsworth, where they would then go into one of the tower blocks that held the birthday party. Upon reaching the tower block, the Team Raw members would spot Pistol P standing in a stairwell. 4 members of Team Raw would then start to attack Pistol P, who would be stabbed multiple times in the leg. One of these stab wounds to the leg would actually sever an artery, causing Pistol P to bleed profusely on the scene. The 4 attackers would flee moments later, with police and paramedics arriving moments later. Sadly, Pistol P would be pronounced dead on the scene, with a murder investigation being launched. In December 2013, all 4 of the members would be found guilty. 3 of the members would be given life with a minimum of 17 years, whilst the 4th man was given life with a minimum of 21 years. Rest in peace, Pistol P. It's also known that in 2013, members of 6-7 would catfish a 150 member known as J-Bands. J-Bands would be getting close with a girl that allegedly knew 6-7 members. J-Bands would go out with this girl, whilst he was with the girl,
crazy.
A member of 6-7 would pull up and would shoot J-Bands in the head. Luckily, J-Bands would go on to make a recovery following the shooting.
Nigga made a recovery off a headshot? You better have stopped gangbanging after that. You made a recovery off a headshot? Nigga got shot dead in his head. You better stop gangbanging at that one.
This incident just showing how tapped the beef was getting. In recent years, younger members of 6-7, like Dope Smoke and PR Sad, are starting to refer to 6-7 as Catfish Gang. In PR Sad's breakout track titled One Wish, he would rap the following line: "Catfish Gang don't believe in snap. 3 got shot because they fiend for vag," as well as in LD's Plugged In, where he rapped, "They want to know about Catfish Gang. Tell 'em, go ask Rose and Bands." On the 10th of December 2013, 2 members of 150 being Styx and M Darg would link up and would drop a serious diss track towards 6-7, this being titled It's Cracking. 6-7 would end up replying, using the same beat and flow on a track titled It's Frying, which was released in February 2014. Gangs like 6-7 and 150 would start to blow in 2014, gaining millions of views on songs like It's Frying by 6-7 and the song titled Salute, released by 150. Even though these gangs gained millions of views, what people didn't know was that the war was continuing in the streets, with this just being the start.
Bro,
2014
after that, I would have like, what? I blew up off a rap? Bye-bye. I'm gone. Like, I don't understand that, bro. Like, I get money and I'm a hood. If I'm a hood nigga and I get money, like I get 1 million views off of something, bye. The only thing I could probably, and if I'm really into the, like, nigga, I'm really into the game, I'll give y'all some money. Go get some poles, go get you some knife, My main niggas go get you some poles, go get you some knife, make this money. Only use these poles for protection. And only use these knives for protection. And go sell this girl. Go make some money. That's what I've been like. I've been a plug. I'm just saying. He might have grazed, but he didn't stop. He still.
Also see a
Niggas
younger member of
hard-headed,
150
'cause
known
what
as
the fuck?
SQ beginning to make
You hard headed in real life and inside your head. Like with your brain, you're hard headed, and outside your head, you're actually hard headed. Like you got grazed in the head, and then decide to stop from right there. My ass would have been in that hospital bed. I'm done. I'm done. I'm not doing this shit no more. I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. My next flight, I'm gone. Like, I would have been gone. That nigga already. Hey, you want to stay out there and keep getting. Okay.
music, often rapping alongside his friends, who are also from 150. SQ seemed as if he could maybe make a career from the music. But what no one was expecting was that only months later, he would sadly be killed by rival 6-7 members. On the 25th of February 2014, a member of 6-7 known as Incy would travel onto rival 150 territory based around Angel Town. Incy would spot a 150 member and would begin to chase him. SQ, who was driving through the Angel Town block, would notice that Incy was chasing one of his friends. SQ would jump out of his car and would attempt to intervene and save his friend. Incy would then move his attention toward SQ, who would then be attacked and would be stabbed multiple times by Incy. Incy would then flee the scene moments later, with paramedics rushing SQ to hospital. However, 2 days later, on the 27th of February 2014, SQ would sadly be pronounced dead in the hospital, with a murder investigation being launched. Incy would quickly be arrested and charged for the murder. During the trial, members of 6-7 would post him, an example of this being Monkey from 6-7, who would post a picture of Incy with the caption, "Free Squincy." Members would start to refer to Incy as Squincy, as he was the killer of SQ. In December 2014, Incy would be found guilty of manslaughter and would be sentenced to 12 years for the murder of SQ.
Only
Rest in
12
peace,
years
SQ.
for fucking manslaughter. 12 years for fucking manslaughter. You niggas is getting off lucky. Cause what? United States would never went down for that bullshit.
Around the end of 2014, members of both 150 and 6-7 would be blowing within the drill scene. 6-7 would drop the UK drill anthem titled Live Corn, which gained millions of views, currently sitting on 7.3 million views. Now, I said that Ciroc had started to have a rivalry.
Now, I guarantee you this is getting posted on YouTube. These music videos is probably getting posted on YouTube. And y'all probably got some deals off this and everything. Why the fuck you not leaving? Yeah, he laughing when he got 12. When he got 12, what you mean? When he got shot? He was laughing?
With 150. This would seemingly get very deadly in 2015, when a member of 150 would be stabbed by Ciroc members. This 150 member would go on to make a recovery, with it being alleged Jay Munna would then go on to snitch to police about the stabbing. Ciroc would hear that this member had allegedly snitched, and would gain his location, killing him in one of the most brutal and deadly ways. In August 2015, a member associated with Ciroc known as Fox would be lurking for rivals. He would seemingly gain access to the location of a house party that members of the Loughborough CMG gang would be attending.
He was laughing when he got 12 years? Bro, that nigga's playing in y'all face. Bro, if a judge see in the United States, if the judge see you laughing in his court, he don't give a fuck what you did. He will stack up your fucking years. You want to keep disrespected? You laughing? Stack it up. Like, bro, you niggas is getting off easy. I'm telling you, y'all are. Cause what the fuck?
a member known as Jay Munna, would be present at this party. During the party, Fox from Sirac would pull up in a car and would begin to confront Jay Munna. A fight would ensue before Fox would return to his car, running Jay Munna over, crushing his head in the process.
Damn.
This then leading to Jay Munna being pronounced dead on the scene. Police arrived minutes later and would end up arresting Fox days later, with an investigation into this shocking murder being launched. Fox would end up being charged for the murder. However, the murder charge would be dropped and he would instead be charged with manslaughter. Fox would go on to be sentenced. However, I couldn't find how long he was sentenced to. Rest in peace, Jay Munna. Around this time, members of LTH would begin to get involved in the beef, with it being known that
That's the worst way to go out. The worst way. To get ran over and get your head crushed. The worst way to go out. God damn. Ugh.
member of LTH would shoot a member of Sirac in the head, this member being known as Stabber around the time, but has more popularly become known as SR. Whilst it looked like members of the Gas Alliance weren't looking to retaliate, this would all change in the late 2010s, with gangs like UTH joining the Gas Alliance and beginning to beef the Hillside Alliance. In 2017, an older member of TN1 known as Chaos would sadly be killed in a car crash. Chaos would actually feature on a song with old TN1 members around 2011. This song was titled R.I.P. Zach and was a tribute to Lil Zach, who died in 2010. Rest in peace, Chaos. It would be around this time that a member of Team Raw would go viral in the UK drill scene, this member being Reeks MB, who would drop a song titled No Face with LD from 6'7". This song gained millions of views, currently sitting on 5.9 million views. Members from the nearby gang GID or 5'5" would also begin to get active in this war around this time, this mainly being due to the fact they had affiliation with nearby 6'7". They wouldn't be that active in the war until around 2017, when a loved member of GID known as YK would be stabbed to death by a member of UTH, allied with the Gas Alliance, resulting in GID becoming allied under the Hillside Alliance, often riding onto the Gas Alliance. On the 31st of December 2017, YK and a few friends would board a bus in Tulse Hill. During this bus ride, YK would spot a member of UTH known as Shocks and two other people. YK would appear as aggressive and would confront the three members. When the UTH members realized that YK was on the bus, they would quickly leave the bus in an attempt to escape YK. However, YK would then follow them off the bus. By this point, two of the three UTH members would be seeking refuge in a store. Whilst Shocks was outside, YK would flash a knife he had on him at the time towards Shocks, who then retrieved his own knife, stabbing YK once in the heart. Shocks would quickly
So the nigga watched him. So the nigga caught him on the bus. He ran, went into the store. Dude seen him in the store, and I'm guessing in the store or outside the store. The nigga showed him a knife. The dude pulled out his knife, and they start going at each other.
flee the scene, with YK being pronounced dead on the scene. Later in 2021, Shocks would be arrested and charged for the murder, but would end up beating the murder case on the basis of self-defense. Rest in peace, YK. YK's friends from Mitcham would go on to make tribute songs to him, this just showing how loved YK was in Brixton, with it being known he had connection to the Lower Tulse Hill Gang and 6'7" Gang. It's also to note that another member associated with the gangs died on this same day, this being Shaq, who repped the LTH gang as well as the AP gang in Enfield. However, the death of Shaq wasn't
What the fuck? No. Stop.
due to any Gas versus Hillside beef, but instead a drug dispute with a member of AP from Enfield. Rest in peace, Shaq. 2018 would roll around, with new youngers starting to get active within the war. An example of this being Dope Smoke, who actually repped the RP gang based around Rupel Park. But in recent years, this gang has just become 6'7". Dope Smoke would go on to become a very popular UK drill rapper years later, and would even be facing a murder charge at one point. 2018 saw the rise of rappers from LTH like C1 and J-Sav. It would be J-Sav that would go on to make noise in the streets, even featuring on a Next Up freestyle with C1. 150 would be looking for a get-back for the members that they had lost, and would seek out J-Sav as he was seriously making a noise within the streets. And it would be in November 2018 that members of 150 would ride out onto Lower Tulse Hill. J-Sav would be waiting for his mum to pick him up, and what he didn't know was that bloodthirsty members of 150 would be on the lurk. Two cars containing the 150 members drove up to J-Sav. The members then jumped out and stabbed J-Sav multiple times in the stomach, sadly all whilst his mum was watching nearby. The members then fled the scene in those same cars.
They did that to this nigga in front of his mama. You niggas don't care.
cars, with J-Sav's mum then alerting police. However, J-Sav would sadly not survive this attack.
My mama would have went out with a bang. My mom would have went out with a. Well, this is UK. I can't say that. Like, this is the UK. My mom not getting up stabbing nobody. But if this was the United States, oh my God! If I was in a situation and niggas pulled up on me and pulled me out the car and tried to stab me, my mama would have went out with a bang and pulled out that fucking gun and blew them niggas down. She would have went out with a bang. I'm not dissing that nigga mama. I'm just saying. My mom would never watch me die, bro. I'm lying. I don't know. Like, I think my mom, no. Because my mom would crash out a little bit. Like, I don't think my mom would let me die, bro. Like, my mom would have went out with a bang, bro. Like, died right in front of my mom. My mom would have went out with a bang. One of them niggas would have had to go. Like, hell no. They done did.
Being pronounced dead moments later. Police opened a murder investigation, but couldn't link anyone to the crime, with it still being unsolved. Rest in peace, J-Sav. Many theories about who killed J-Sav flew around the internet following his death, with it often being thought that members of 150 or AD were responsible. In 2018, members from Harlem Spartans were blowing in the drill scene, with rappers like S.A., Biss, and Low Ski gaining millions of views on their drill songs. Harlem actually had a deadly rivalry with the Gas Alliance, but is not in fact allied with the Hillside Alliance. Harlem is only really a
Nah, he didn't get pulled out the car. He was standing outside. And mom came out. Oh, shit. Yeah, I heard it wrong. My fault. But I don't know. In front of my house, like, I don't know, like, how y'all self-defense laws is in the UK, but that's my property. That's my property. I'm on my property. You bounce out on me on my property. My mom would have blew that bitch down. That whole car down. You came on my property and stabbed me up. My mama see me hit the floor. She would have blew that car down. I don't know how it is, but that car would have been blew down. I'm sorry.
Affiliated with nearby Ciroc. This mainly being due to the fact that members of both Ciroc and Harlem Spartans are related. Example of this being Latz and R1, with Latz then sadly dying in 2018, resulting in his cousin R1 riding out for him and killing a rival member from the Gas Alliance.
That nigga like a menace.
On the 25th of July 2018, Latz or SA from Harlem Spartans and a member of Moscow 17 known as Mimes would ride out onto rival 150 territory. The members would be armed with a gun. Upon reaching the territory belonging to 150, Latz would spot a member alleged to be. He would attempt to shoot him, however the gun jammed. Would then run toward Latz and stab him multiple times. Mimes would then drive off with Latz on the back of the moped. Mimes attempted to take Latz to a nearby hospital. However, Latz would be in and out of consciousness, and eventually would pass out on the back of the bike. This is when Mimes would supposedly push Latz off the back of the moped, and would shout to nearby civilians, telling them to get him to hospital. Sadly, however, Latz was pronounced dead moments later, with a murder investigation being launched days later. It was thought that would be arrested for the murder, but would have the charges dropped on the basis of self-defense. Rest in peace, Latz. It's even alleged that Incognito from Moscow 17 would have been asked to go on the ride out with Latz, but declined. And after learning that Latz died, he would write on his Snapchat saying, "When bro called me, I should have went. It's my fault." Incognito.
This is a nice guy in a suit. This is a nice guy in a suit. Like, you see how a dude, you could look at a picture and think he the most smartest nigga ever. Like, if I go on Instagram, right, and then I see a picture like this of a nigga that supposedly is beefing with me, I'm not taking him serious. I'm not. A dude wearing a suit like this posting on his, I'm not taking him serious. Nigga, a very active guy for his death. 2 blades and shot. Good amount. Oh, so he was an active nigga. That nigga was getting busy. Shit. He was scoring time for fun. This nigga now you say that, now he look like a hitman. Like, but like from first perspective of this dude on God, I go on Instagram and somebody tell me this nigga is funking with me. I look up his Instagram and see this picture, I'm laughing. Like, I'm not gonna take him serious. I'm not. Truth be told, I'm not.
Magneto would have been stabbed to death by a man after attempting to steal a Rolex. Latz actually had a cousin, this being a member of Serac known as R1, and upon hearing the news that his cousin had died, R1 would seek retaliation on the 150 gang, this then resulting in the incident that occurred in 2019, that then led to the deaths of 4 members all in a 1-year time gap, with 2019 being one of the most dangerous years in the beef. On the 21st of February 2019, a member associated with the 150 gang known as Thumps would be standing outside of Lipton Youth Center. What he didn't know was that a violent and dangerous member of Serac would be lurking around the area, this being R1, who only had one thing on his mind, this being avenging his cousin Latz. R1 would notice Thumps outside of the youth center. Thumps would make an attempt to escape by running into the main room of the youth center, but would trip and fall, leading to R1 getting closer. Thumps would be able to get up and carry on running, but would then sadly trip and fall, with R1 catching up and stabbing him multiple times in the thigh. R1 then fleeing. Police and paramedics arrived shortly later and attempted to treat Thumps, who had lost a lot of blood at this point. This then sadly leading to Thumps being pronounced dead moments later as a result of blood loss. R1 would quickly be identified as the attacker and would be facing the murder charge. In the end, R1 would be found guilty and would be sentenced to life with a minimum of 18 years. Rest in peace, Thumps. One name that often gets brought up by rappers from the Hillside Alliance is Reckless, who is actually an older from the UTH gang that even appeared on an old freestyle from 2011. This song being titled Mama Told Me. This song didn't gain that much attention, currently sitting on around 7.3 thousand views. Watching this emotional music video nowadays is very sad when you come to learn that a month after the death of Thumps, he would sadly be shot dead. Only a month later, on the 29th of March 2019, a member of UTH known as Reckless would be lured to an apartment by alleged Hillside members. However, upon entering the apartment, he would be shot in the head, dying on the scene. Paramedics would arrive on the scene moments later and would even bring Reckless back to life for a brief amount of time before he then sadly died. His killers have never been identified, with many people speculating who actually killed him. Rest in peace, Reckless. In June 2019, a member of 6'7" known as Giant would be in a park within Wandsworth. He would notice a member associated with CT and 37 known as Stomps. Giant would confront Stomps, and a violent altercation ensued. Giant stabbed Stomps multiple times, killing him on the scene. Police would arrest Giant days later and would put the charges toward him. Later in 2020, he would be found guilty and would be sentenced to life with a minimum of 25 years. Rest in peace, Stomps. In Harlem Spartans,
that's the most realistic sentence I done seen all this whole video. This whole video, that's the most realistic sentence I done seen.
extremely disrespectful track, He's Dead, they would call for the freeing of their friend R1, where they said, "Free R1, that's Shanks in chests." They also said that a member of 410 was stabbed in the same week that R1 killed Thumps. The next deadly incident between the Hillside Alliance and Gas Alliance would occur around 2 months later in August 2019, this then leading to the Get Back killings taking place in South London. In August 2019, Dope Smoke's younger brother Double S would often ride out onto rival CT territory in Clapham, as they were Hillside's main rivals, being allied with the Gas Alliance. On the 15th of August 2019, S1 from CT would be walking with a girl believed to be the girlfriend of Nutty, who was also a CT member. S1 would notice Double S from 6'7", who would be sitting on a wall. S1 would then approach Double S, fist bumping him. Double S then started asking S1 where he was from, as he believed he was a part of the rival gang CT from Clapham. S1 would then deny involvement with any gang and would seemingly walk away. After walking a few hundred feet, the girl would call Nutty, as they were being followed by Double S. Once Double S would catch up, he would stab S1 in the neck and chest multiple times. Sadly, S1 would be pronounced dead before Nutty could arrive.
Nigga try to claim. So he basically didn't even try to claim his
on
hood.
the scene, with police and paramedics arriving moments later. Double S was arrested days later and would be charged with the murder of S1. Eventually, in the end, Double S would be given 14 years for the murder. Rest in peace, S1. Dope Smoke would be heavily affected, as he had in a way lost his younger brother. But it wouldn't end for Dope Smoke, who would be charged with murder himself, and losing another one of his closest friends to jail, this being VD, who was the killer of Lil D from the LG8 gang. Dope Smoke would also be arrested for this murder, and after months of being on trial, VD would be found guilty and would receive life with a minimum of 19 years for the murder, whilst Dope Smoke would have all charges dropped against him, being let free in 2020. Rest in peace, Lil D. Dope Smoke would actually rap about these incidents in his leaked song titled Deeper Than Drill, which was a very heartfelt song. In it, he raps, "I bust case, but my didn't bust that. Looking at his mum in the dock like, fuck fam, they took her only son, but he took it like a tug." This referencing the murder that VD was arrested and found guilty for. He also rapped, "Real talk, I put my mum through mad stress. I can't lie. How she coped was a madness. 2M's both sons locked because of gang shit." This referring to how both Dope Smoke and his brother Double S were facing serious murder charges around 2019 and 20. 2020 would start, and would see the beef with Team Raw and gangs from the Gas Alliance exploding, resulting in 2 members of Team Raw dying in a 1-month time period. The first of these would be a Team Raw member known as 16 Shot, who was actually a rapper, and would feature on songs with other Team Raw members like Clap-A-Lot and C-Figures. Anyways, on the 20th of August 2020, 16 Shots would gain access to the location of Styx from 150, who was hosting a birthday party for himself. 16 Shots would ride out onto the Angeltown estate in a stolen car. However, this car would crash on the estate. 16 Shots then got out of the car with a machete, attacking Styx from 150. Other members of 150 would notice this, and would chase 16 Shots for a few hundred feet, before 16 Shots was stabbed 30 times by 150 members. A murder investigation was launched following this, and would result in 2 150 members being arrested. This included a member being known as KTN, who would go on to be found guilty, and sentenced to 17.5 years for this murder. During the trial, KTN's music was actually used. In one of his songs, he labeled himself a Flick Knife Pro. Rest in peace, 16 Shots. It would be around this time that members of Harlem Spartans would drop the insanely disrespectful track titled He's Dead. This song featured a verse that disrespected multiple dead rivals. Now, I'm saying this, as only a few months later, members of the CT gang from Clapham would fire back and release their version to this.
Oh God, it did. Thank you. All right, hold on. Mm. All right, hold on, cause my stuff be tripping. Is it not gonna connect? Alright. How far back? My fault. My stuff be tripping sometimes. How far back? Like a minute back? I'm gonna just do like a little bit like right here for you.
Sister's reaction after the death. An investigation was launched following this, and only a day later, police would arrest SD from Harlem Spartans whilst he was at the airport. Since then, though, SD has been released, and the murder has subsequently gone unsolved. Multiple tit-for-tat shootings and murders would take place around this time, with members involved in the war starting to move cautiously within the streets. And it would be on the 30th of October 2022 that 6-7 members would catch another rival, this being Perm from the gang CT. Perm actually had a very influential run in the UK drill scene around the early days, dropping anthems like Dottie and the Ride, which actually featured a real shotgun in the music videos. This song gained thousands of views, currently sitting on around 900,000 views, so it would come as a surprise when Perm would be shot dead, with the killers never being found, and even resulting in the death of an innocent bystander. On the 30th of October 2022, alleged members from the rival 6-7 gang would pull up on Railton Road within Brixton. The members would notice Perm in a car and would begin to let off shots. Perm would then use the vehicle and would attempt to escape by driving for a few moments. Perm would sadly...
Damn near like around, I should say 2019, 2018, or 2020, these niggas started getting guns. Or they started making guns. Like, that's what it seems like. Like, they just started making guns. Cause, yeah.
Collide with an innocent Deliveroo driver whilst trying to evade his attackers. This Deliveroo driver would die on the scene. The attackers would end up shooting Perm multiple times, with Perm being killed on the scene. Another member of 150 would also supposedly be shot, this being Cones. It had been alleged that Perm was very prominent in the streets, often catching rivals. However, I won't speculate on this. Since the death of Perm and the innocent Deliveroo driver, no one has been arrested or charged for the double murder, with Crime Stoppers even putting out a £20,000 reward to anyone with information. Brooker from 6-7 was originally arrested for the double murder. However, he would go on to be released days later. Rest in peace, both Perm and Guilherme Messias da Silva. Recently, in 2023, members of Sirac would ride onto Angeltown territory and would stab a member of 150 known as Skeng Roy multiple times. Skeng Roy would sadly die on the scene, with yet another police investigation occurring. Since then, however, no one has been arrested or charged for the murder, with CCTV even being released showing the members running away. Many theories fly around the internet about who was responsible. However, until someone has been charged and found guilty, I guess we will never know. Rest in peace, Skeng Roy. Following the death of Skeng Roy, rival members would be looking for retaliation for their fallen friend, and on the 3rd of October 2023, alleged 150 members would get back, stabbing a Sirac affiliate known as KK or Smalls on Cold Harbor Lane within Brixton. KK would actually be attacked in front of terrified shoppers, who would call police. Police then arriving moments later. Sadly, KK would be pronounced dead on the scene. A murder investigation launched by police has seen the arrests of multiple teenagers who are yet to be charged. Rest in peace, KK. KK's friends would actually post him following his death, with a member of Sirac known as Trap SG posting an image at KK's funeral with the caption saying, "Bro coulda chose this life, but chose not. Rest easy, my boy." The most recent incident to take place within the beef would be the death of J-Sav from the 17 Wano gang, which is better known as TOG. J-Sav was allegedly set up by one of his own friends, who then shot him dead in 2024, with it being thought that his killer was a 150 member, which is crazy as 150.
Before I show you the dark, listen everything you heard. Okay. Alright.
And 17 Wano are both gangs that are allied. Anyways, after the news that J-Sav had died reached his ops, they would begin to go live, with a member of LTH known as G41 going live with the title of the live being Backdoor Pack. AK from 6-7 then would post a story with the song Backdoor by Lil Durk playing in the background. But I guess we will truly find out once a full murder investigation has taken place and someone has been charged.
I'm not gonna hold you. I have not ate. I have not eaten no food. So I'm gonna react to your thing. It's just I'm gonna have to go for a bit. I'm gonna have a video playing, but I'm gonna have to go for a bit. You know, I'm gonna make you something neat. It's gonna be real quick, and I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna react to your documentary.
Rest in peace, J-Sev. Since the death of J-Sev, no other incidents have occurred within the streets. If you have learned anything from this video, however, make sure that it is to stay out of the streets, as this road lifestyle that you see these rappers living often only leads to jail or death. Oftentimes these rappers have lost most of the people around them to the roads, an example of this being Dope Smoke, who lost his brother and best friend to the gang.
I swear to God,